Joining me with the next steps are my guest, Marlea Delano, Assistant San Diego City Attorney, and she leads the Criminal Division, and also Chief Deputy District Attorney Dave Greenberg. Welcome back.
It's good to be here.
Now, Dave, have any inmates already been released since this proposition passed?
Technically, no inmate's been released yet because nobody's been resentenced. However, we have had people that were in custody charged with felonies that were pending that were reduced to misdemeanors because of the new law. They've now pled guilty and have been released.
Well, I know local agencies have been preparing for this, I know, as well as your agencies and other law enforcement for the last couple of weeks. What's the plan now as far as implementing this? How are you going to do it?
Well, what we've been doing is we've been reviewing all of the cases going forward that are currently pending. We go to court, we file misdemeanor complaints, and then the case gets handled as any normal misdemeanor would be handled. With respect to those folks that want to be have their cases resentenced, those people that are in custody or have their custody portions over with, the public defender is going to be filing petitions. They've already sent us petitions. By the end of the week, we expect approximately 1,800 inmates to have filed 4,800 petitions. And that's because most of those inmates have multiple cases.
Now, we understand, Marlea, about 3,000 cases will actually shift over to the city attorney's office. How are you preparing to handle that?
Well, that's correct. It's a significant increase in our caseload, so about a 15% increase in the number of cases we handle. Right now, we're just working closely with the DA's office to look at how the process kind of shakes out, and we'll go from there.
Will you be adding staff, or will there be more funding?
You know, right now, I think, again, we're just kind of taking a look and see attitude. Obviously, with a 15% increase, I would anticipate that we will need more staff down the line. But we're going to wait and see what the impact is actually on our attorneys as well as our staff, and then see what we need going forward.
And Dave, you touched on this. How many people, again, might be affected by this Prop 47, who might be eligible? And does the DA tell them, or is it on them to come forward and request a petition?
It's on them to file a petition. And that's what the public defender is doing. The public defender is going back through their database systems and making contact with people and then filing petitions on their behalf. So it's not the district attorney's office going forward. The public defender is actually going to go all the way back to 1990 for people. So people whose sentences are over and done from many, many years ago are entitled to have their case resentenced, and they're going to file petitions. What we're going to do is we're going to try to focus on those folks that are currently in custody, locally and or in prison.
Now, Marlea, not all felons are eligible for this, not even all non-violent criminals are eligible for this. So what is the criteria for eligibility?
Well, it depends on what kind of a criminal history that they have. Certain people who have been charged with sex offenses aren't eligible, and some other felony crimes. So we'll just be looking at the individuals that are sent over from the DA's office and go from there.
The current ones, yes. So Dave, could you add to that as far as eligibility? I understand.
Sure. So the folks that are eligible for resentencing are those folks that have were convicted of either one of the simple possession of drugs or one of the theft offenses, and they don't have a certain prior conviction. That is, if you have to register as a sex offender, you're probably not eligible. If you have a prior conviction for murder, you're not eligible. If you have a prior conviction for possessing a weapon of mass destruction, you're not eligible. So it's not a large pool of people that aren't eligible. In fact, most of those folks will be eligible.
I'll start with you, Marlea, on this. Do you have a financial impact that you're anticipating, that either to hire more staff or to handle the influx here on how Proposition 47 is going to affect the city's office?
Well, again, I mean, it's hard to imagine having an increase of 15% and not having some staff to address that. But again, I don't know exactly what those numbers are going to look like. So the best we can do is kind of see how the next few months go and look at the impact on our staff. And certainly if we are in a position where we need to ask for additional resources, we'll do that. Right now, the district attorney's office and our office, as always, we work very closely together, so we're supporting each other through this transition in every way that we can.
And we'll have to end on this, Dave. What about the idea that in the proposition they said that the money saved from having prison inmates, to having fewer of them, could help pay for some of this, including treatment programs?
Well, that money, if there is any money realized, that calculation won't be until July of 2016. So for the next 18 months to 2 years, while all these people are not getting the treatment they need, there isn't going to be money to provide them treatment.
All right, Chief Deputy District Attorney Dave Greenberg, thanks so much, and also Assistant City Attorney Marlea Delano, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.